going to show you how to swap out the 90-91 front bumper for an 88-89 style bumper. My Civic is a 1990, and of course I have the original bumpers on there. I have an eBay lip, which fits pretty well also. I got a full set of front and rear bumpers plus the moldings from a really good friend. He also gave me his old lip off of his wagon. He gave it to me because we put a sticker on there, but he hit something on the freeway and it punched a huge hole right in the center of it. But I figured this is perfect for my track car. I like the style of it, and I'd been wanting to convert to the 88-89 bumpers. For the bumper swap, you're going to need, of course, the bumper cover. I would suggest the bumper support. I don't know if it's exactly the same as the 90-91. Once I pull this bumper off, we'll take a look. It's recommended to get the two mounting brackets which attach to the frame, and you're going to need the bumper lights. Removing the bumpers is very easy. Start by removing the two screws. These are located on both edges of the bumper. It's 4 total. Next, underneath the bumper in the front, you'll have a 10mm bolt here and another 10mm bolt right down there. You'll need to remove your bumper lights. These are just 2 screws, usually Phillips head. Someone might have put a flat in there as well. When removing these 2 screws, it may be easier to turn your wheel inward. Turn to the right when removing the left side, and turn the wheel to the left when removing the right side. Especially if you're lowered, it's tough to get a screwdriver in there to remove those. When you remove the 2 screws and pull the bulb out, just spin it to the left and pop it right out. And lastly, to get the bumper cover removed, on the 90-91 models, once you have the bulb removed, if you look inside here, it gets a little dark. There's 2 12mm bolts on each side of the 90-91 bumpers, and on the 88-89s they should be 10mm bolts. Go ahead and remove the 2 on each side. The bumper cover is going to come right off. Once you have those removed, kind of pull around the corner and it'll come off. You can do that on both sides. Now here's a look at that 90-91 bracket. Here's the 88-89. See how the hole placement is different? It's located higher. And even the bolt hole location is different on that. That's why we need to replace these. Now here's a look at that 88-89 bumper and bumper cover on with the original 90-91 brackets. It doesn't allow the bumper to go up any farther, leaving this huge gap in between the filler piece and the bumper. I think the 88-89 filler piece comes down a little farther, and it might work if you had that also, but I can't lift it up any further because the little tabs on the bumper are hitting the top of this hole. That's why we need the other bracket on here to be able to raise the bumper a little bit further. Now I found out the hard way that I can't get this off without removing the headlight. This last bolt goes up and it's already pushing on the little headlight bracket, and I cannot get it out. So I'm gonna have to remove the bumper filler and the headlights, unfortunately, to get this bumper on here. Removing the corner lights is easy. All you need to do is take off the Phillips head screw, and you can usually slide it forward. You don't even need to disconnect it. Instead of taking the filler off, I'm going to try, there's 2 bolts that are on top of the headlight housing. There's one down here, it's underneath. You can get it from the bottom of the filler panel. And there's one more when you slide back right in here next to that bracket I was working on. You have those 4. I'm going to see if I can just maybe move it and push it in a little bit so I can get to that bolt without having to remove the filler. Alright, that worked perfect. Didn't have to remove the headlight, just removed all of those. So now I can actually move it around Maybe, oh there we go. Just enough room I needed to get this removed. So I didn't have to remove the failer. You will want to remove the corner light still, because when you adjust the headlight around, it is attached onto that little piece of the headlight bracket. Here's a look at them side by side. This is the driver's side. Went ahead and installed the passenger one, but I wanted to show you exactly where the differences are in the little brackets. You're also going to need two bolts that'll fit inside here. These are metric 6 by 1 millimeter, a little bit smaller. These are basically the 10 millimeters that you find anywhere on your Hondas, and these are the 12s. I believe this one is metric 8 by 1.25 if I remember correctly. And after you have both of those put back onto your bumper, go ahead and test fit it. And now you're able to slide it up. I'm gonna tighten it up. I just need to get a couple bolts. I'll take a look at the final fit. And here we go. Got it all bolted up. I put one screw on each side just to pull it in. I put one bolt inside of the mounting on the bumper support. The other second one is not tightened all the way, but here you can see the gap. Looks a lot better now. Fits more like the 9091 bumper on the car. And I like the bumper, the look of this bumper a lot better. So that's pretty much all you need to mount this 9091 bumper and bumper cover onto your car, is just those two brackets. And it'll work with the 9091 filler piece. I'm gonna go ahead and work on mounting the lip next, and we're gonna do the rear bumper after this. Okay, now the wagon lip that I got for my friend, it was on his 91 Civic wagon, but that Civic wagon bumper, all of them are the same as the 88, 89s, and this one seems to fit perfect. Where it lines up across the front of the grille, this edge, and also, you can't see it, but the side lines up perfect as well. There's no gaps. I already drilled 2 holes here. I lined it up, and I drilled a couple holes in the front here. I'm gonna put some hardware through here and bolt it up to my bumper. I got the lip mounted. I used some fender washer hardware on the side. This lip fit great on this bumper. I used the same underneath. You can see the nut right there. Second nut. It's a little dark in there, but you can see it. And on the opposite side, also the fender washer hardware. Let me flip the bumper over and show you the front of it. And this is the hardware I used on top of it. Just those two kind of centered where these 2 little mounting pieces are, just so it looked symmetrical to me. Here's a look at that bumper finished up with the lip on. And then I got my 9091. I think I'm gonna hang on to it. I feel like in case I ever get bored and want to just swap back and forth, it's not too difficult to do so. Now we're gonna swap out the rear bumper. This is a lot easier than doing the front. You only have 4 nuts and 4 screws holding the bumper on. Go ahead and remove both screws on both sides of the bumper. You have one up here and one down there. Next, on both sides, inside the rear hatch area, this is where the spare tire is. You're gonna have a 12 millimeter nut down in here, and the other one is gonna be right under here. You can tell there'll be a little hump, and if you look back in here, let me see if I can get it. Now you can't see, it's a little too dark, but it's straight back in there. And then from underneath the bumper, it's easier to see on this because the bumper's cut out, but it's right here above the muffler. You need to get this nut off right there. It's also another 12 millimeter. Take that off on both sides. After that last one is removed, you can pull the sides and pull it away. And the only thing you're gonna have left is the wiring for the license plate bulbs. Now wiring, you can just pull these away from one another. These are similar to the connections on the brake master cylinder. And your wiring will probably still be attached to the bumper. I'd already removed this bumper, so I took it off. Just pull it away and you're good. Go ahead and bring your bumper over here. Get your license plate wiring connected. This originally was connected right through here, but I'm just going to tuck it up in there, just like this. And let's lift the bumper into position. Make sure you don't get these wires caught. And you leave that tucked in there. Slide it up. Make sure the corners are on. And then just go ahead and re-bolt up the 4 nuts and the 2 screws on each side. Let me finish that up real quick. Now we got that finished up. That one's really easy to install. Did not take long at all to get that one finished up. Fits perfect. And now the muffler actually comes out correctly, but we'll be working on that next. Hopefully I'll get a chance before the next track day to get my old muffler put back on. Lastly, to finish it all off, we're going to change out all the moldings today. The front molding is the easiest, especially if you don't have a liner. All of these moldings have these little clips which you need to squeeze to get them popped out. So I'm just going to use some pliers on this one. That one's easy to get out. To get it on, all you gotta do is pop it back on. Clean it if you want. This car is not a show car. You just pop it right on. First one's done. The quarter panel piece has 3. This gives you an idea of the location of them. These can be kind of hard to get off. If your car is super duper clean, you don't want to scratch the paint, I would suggest using those plastic panel poppers. I like to use old kind of credit card material to slide up in here. Let's see if I can get the first one started. Well shit, I had stopped recording because it had taken me a little while. But when I was squeezing up with a card, this one kind of just popped off. It spread open a little bit. It didn't break it, but it just spread open and it popped off. And once that is off, you can actually lift it and smack it forward because these 2 slide. You can see how the direction, they slide right out, and that's exactly how I got it off. I'm going to try sliding this one on into its place. Yep. That one slid on, and these 2 you can just push back in. The door one is a little bit easier. Right here on the inside. The inside of the door, there's a little 10mm nut you need to remove. So get that removed first. And that makes it a lot easier because it pulls, you can pull the molding away from the door. How it's working best is when you pull it away a little bit and pop it up. Find where the next one's at, pop it off the bottom, and then lift it up off the top. Same with the next. Pop off the bottom, and pull the molding up. And I'll show you exactly what that's doing when I get the molding pulled off. See these little things? Essentially what we're doing is when we pull down, we're pulling it out. See, because they fit in like this, they kind of twist in. So when we pull it down, it's slid off the bottom. And then we lift up and slid it off the top. Easiest way to get the moldings removed. Cool. You know, my new molding actually, it's not even going to stay on because it's broken right here on the bottom. So I'm just going to remove this completely and use the rest of the pieces to hold it into place. Go ahead and twist all these, pull them out. Then we need to line them up where they go on the new molding. What you do, you slide them in and then twist. You can see where they were at before on this one. Once you got them all lined up, you should be able to just pop it back in. You can see the original color of my car, that maroon. Wish they would have left it like that when I first bought it as a shell. I'm gonna clean this up real quick. Pop that back one into spot. The rest of these. There you go. Unfortunately, the front one, it's not bad. It should stay still. Once I put the nut back on, that'll keep it from moving back and forth. Just look at that bumper, and the molding's finished up.